I would eventually come to find out why Lockwood had been called to Craigstow. It seems that our Empress had more than just a thank you in mind. Of course, Luther jumped right into what he and Pickleson do best: investigate.
So Lockwood would pick up quite quickly that this is kind of an uneasy situation where you have something from Garia all the way down here in the capital.
Okay. So, all things considered, the body shouldn't have shown up, or shouldn't have... Somebody could have died upriver. But it's... Yeah, we'll find out more information. But it sounds like it's a fresh kill near the spot where it shouldn't be and washed up. Right? Am I understanding that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
And the Empress would go on to explain.
The thing that concerns me the most is currency could create a diplomatic incident with Garia, and this occurring immediately after my coronation is worrisome. There is no reason I can think of that a man should be carrying Garian currency in our mountains.
Okay, Your Majesty. Is it one of those things where was the body particularly waterlogged, or was it fresh? I hate to use those words.
No, it's okay. I understand what you mean. Yes, the guards reported to me that it was a ghoulish sight. The body was ripped and torn as it had flown down the river for quite a ways before landing here.
Okay. So it wasn't traditional means of death, but more like wild animals, perhaps.
It could have been, from what they're saying, but really, any signs of what the cause was were stripped away by washing down the river. It's my understanding that it was barely recognizable as a person.
Okay, but the key defining factor is the Garian currency, and if word gets out, then that would say, oh, incident of some sort. I see. Or at least cast doubt, which is enough of an incident that is not needed right now.
I don't think I need to tell you that Garia is always coveted our land.
Oh, no, you don't.
It makes it quite uneasy that this happens months into my reign. I don't know if they're perceiving any weakness, and I wish to give them no illusion that I'm even concerned about this, which is why we're out here. I trust everyone in there explicitly, but at the same time, one can't be too careful.
That is... He glances around, he's like, I understand.
So what I'm specifically asking of you is to lead a small expedition force that we have prepared into the mountains and investigate whatever is happening up there.
Okay. Do you mind if is the body in a place where I can see it before we leave, so we can at least examine that before we depart?
Yes, Captain Chelsea can make arrangements for that. She's the leader of the special force of 6 merchant marines tasked with assisting you.
Okay. My man is very versed in traveling in the bush, so I think his expertise will be invaluable. Is there a time frame that you have?
I would like the matter resolved as quickly as possible. An air of secrecy will only last so long, and I need to know if Garia is making some kind of play, or if this is just a sheep herder from the north who got lost.
I could understand that. That makes perfect sense to me. All right, I understand your concerns. We will do the best that we can.
If possible, I would like you to leave on the expedition by morning.
Oh, okay. I think I can manage that. A question. I know that you've had your advisors and you've discussed about things. What should I tell my family? Because I am staying with my cousin. They're going to ask questions, and I can be evasive as...
I should have specified. We've made a room here for you for the evening. All the arrangements have been made so that you can leave. We would prefer to avoid any questions altogether.
You've done your research, haven't you?
I like to be prepared.
So you know that if I don't say anything, that at the very least I'm behaving like I always behave and do my own thing, then that works. All right, so I can play into that. Oh, and how is your uncle doing? If you don't mind me asking.
I believe he's fine, thanks to you.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I didn't know if we got out quick enough that we got separated once we were free from that ghastly situation, and just wanted to make sure that he was okay. No one obviously was going to tell me.
I heard he was right back at the palace the next day. He sent word of his gallant rescuer, and that sparked my interest in having your help.
Well, all right then. Well, it's been I'm glad to know that he's doing well.
I feel I should specify one final thing. You will not be traveling with anyone in uniform in order to be your own expedition, and you are to keep this matter as private as possible.
Oh, okay. Very well. I understand. Is there anything else that I can do for you, or that you need from us?
Now, as I said, Captain Chelsea has been tasked with this. You will meet her in the courtyard down below. The handlers will take you there after here, and you can use her as a resource. She's been briefed, and she will be the best assistant she can be.
Oh, absolutely. I'm totally used to that kind of situation, so...
Yes.
And she tucks in under your arm and kind of turns you back towards the door.
Mm-hmm. So he goes back, pushes it open, and leads her through it.
And you head back to your spot 20 or so paces away from the center, and she sits back on the throne. And
Thank you, Lord Lockwood, for your time today. I appreciate you looking into this matter.
Of course, Your Majesty. It's an honor to serve.
And the handlers take a step in and open the doors, and you exit. And the doors swing closed behind you with a ka-chonk. There isn't much of an opportunity to brief Penny at the moment.
Okay.
You are being led. You have a quietish moment while you're down the hall. You're being led to the courtyard. What would you like to convey to Penny? What's that conversation sound like as you guys are walking out to the courtyard?
Oh, I absolutely was going to jump straight into that.
Yeah.
So who's with us right now? The handlers?
You have about 3 handlers with you. One of them introduced himself as a handler, but he carries himself very much like a guard or some kind of military. Mm-hmm. And so one's in front leading you, 2 are behind you.
So silent communication. Silent communication is, we have a big fish. Normal talking is, so Penny, my man, Pickleson. I'll say, you can't see, you won't use Penny in public like that in this situation, so it'd be Pickleson. So Pickleson, we are going to go investigate the body that the Empress had mentioned.
Oh.
So I'm going to need you to be extra vigilant, sir.
Well, I think your sister would be most pleased, and I think your mother especially, knowing that Princess gathered you here just to thank you. That's quite an honor. As a big fish, we got a job, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then in character, vocally, he's like, I agree. It was a very nice story that she was telling me out on the balcony. It was a very personal moment where she was telling me how her uncle was doing, and that he's safe and that he's in good spirits and good health. And then in sign language or in our communication type, it's political incident, going to need to go into the bush. So we're heading through. I think that's about as much information as you can safely divulge, even with silent communication. It's not like a full-on conversation language.
So you all are actually led up a level. Most would assume that a courtyard is down a level, but this is a tall, kind of narrow palace. And so, again, relatively, it's still large and opulent and very open and all of that. Many times of people that are here could fit in here. And an opening there, you see a kind of semicircle cobblestone courtyard that's been made. And there's a stone wall that is reminiscent of like a castle wall to it, but still not really serving the purpose of what those castle walls would be. It's about waist height or whatever. And it looks out and you can see kind of through the same stonework, the limestone work that makes up the whole palace. There's a couple of carriage houses. The carriage that brought you is presumably parked inside one. There's a bit more livestock kind of milling about, some stables basically around here. And in the center stands a tall and slender woman in a jacket, a waistcoat, and some trousers with a wide brim, almost cowboy-like hat on.
Similar to the one that Pickleson always wears?
Yeah,
when it
I think
rains?
so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does she have her rank anywhere?
The thing that both of you would notice immediately is that she is not dressed in uniform. This is...
Oh, she holds herself like she's in uniform, though.
She is standing at attention, but she is not in uniform. And so her arms are, I think, clasped behind her back, maybe. But very straight and very proper.
The name was Chelsea, right?
Captain Chelsea.
Captain Chelsea. Gotcha. Yep. So when we approach Captain Chelsea, Lord Lockwood, at your service.
I'm pleased to meet you, Lord Lockwood. Thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
I would prefer you call me Annika on this venture.
Annika. Very well. You can call me Luther.
I've been instructed not to use rank or insignia. We are to be discreet.
So the handlers that are with us are cleared for this information?
Well, she waited until it was clear enough to kind of...
Oh, okay.
They kind of dropped you off in the courtyard. You've approached, and they've given you some space to it. So she's not broadcasting, but she's not at the same time necessarily being as careful as Lockwood might have been from the Empress's instructions.
Anyway, it's nice to meet you. I can introduce you to the rest of the team later. They're out packing the mules and the horses.
Okay, and we are leaving in the morning, right?
Yes, that was the Empress's wish that we leave by morning.
Excellent. What time in the morning would you like to depart?
To make it up the mountain where it's safe to camp, we'll have to leave just before dawn. I have arranged a location at the edge of the city that we'll be heading to this evening.
Okay. Can we see the remains of the individual and their belongings?
The belongings I can arrange for you. However, the remains themselves are a couple weeks old at this point, and I believe they have been disposed of.
Okay. Can you tell me what it looked like? I mean, I asked the Empress, so it was ghastly, but I figure you might have not told her all the details.
We do not really hide anything from the Empress. However, I can tell you that most of the bones were broken. The nose was missing. It looked as if it had tumbled in the river for a while before coming over Gale Falls.
Oh, okay. So when you said that the man was torn apart, you literally mean torn apart?
It had clearly been in the water for some time. There were a few large gashes across the chest, but it was impossible to tell what caused them. They were in the water so long that it did away with most of the clues.
And the belongings that were made, so that's why I want to see them. Somewhere to start with a hypothesis, something that we might need before we get up there, so we at least have an idea of what we might be looking for.
Yes, I will get that arranged. Let's head to that stable there first, then I'll introduce you to the team later.
I do appreciate that.
Follow me.
Of course. Falls a step.
Yeah, she turns in step and starts almost marching.
As he turns to Penny, is he kicking into marching?
No, I think he's been out of the service long enough that he knows that if we're going to be incognito, that we at least need to not walk in step.
Yeah, that's true. So we're following her. We know that since she was open about things, that he can now be open to Penny a little bit more about things. To catch you up, my good man. Basically, that we're trying to avoid a political incident with the body and the situation. So we just need to investigate the situation up in the mountains, see what we can find out. We have a team. The captain is leading that team, and we have some Marines that are coming with us.
Oh, well, good. You've had a good introduction into some Marines recently, so you should be good.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was a brilliantly well-fated idea. We will be staying at the palace, or at least where they want us to in the town. We will not be going back to my cousin's place.
Unfortunate. That was...
How unfortunate. Yes.
He's an
we are to also be incognito.
Won't be a problem.
I'll need you to trust down. Your expertise are going to be invaluable.
It's mountain bush. A little bit different, but, the bush is the bush is the bush. It should all be fine. It'll be fine.
There's a short-ish walk while you have this conversation to one of the further carriage houses, and she cracks the door and says,
First things first, we have made arrangements for your clothes and you are to change here. There's a room on the other side of this wall. I'll bring the belongings in there where you can examine them.
Oh, thank you very much.
Please stay here after you change.
and she closes the door.
Absolutely. Why do they think that I'm not going to stay here?
I see your reputation has preceded you.
Has preceded me in a lot of ways. Like they're changing while they're talking, obviously.
There's a little knock on the door on the inside, further in to the carriage.
Okay, so the belongings are in here?
So yeah, so you guys are basically in like a changing room. I mean, it's really a storage room that's been converted to have some clothes for you to change into. And then there's another door further in to the building. So basically it's clear that they aren't bringing things out into the daylight, so to speak. There's a private room where you can look at this stuff. But it's definitely more stable like than actually like examination room or anything like that.
Okay, that's cool. What was the name of the currency again?
Garian, the Republic of Garia. And Garia is an island to the northwest of you.
All right, so he's going to lean into Pickleson on that. So we're going to be looking at the obviously the belongings of the person that fell from the waterfall that you heard. The concern is that the currency on the person was from Garia.
The island?
Yes. And that's obviously a possible political situation. Hence why the Empress is wanting to have us resolve the situation, at least figure out what's going on.
I knew I've been out of, standing in political paying attention since I don't do it anymore, but are we on good terms with Garia? Or at least neutral terms with Garia?
It's no.
No.
It's more like it's a political tension.
Still at a ceasefire with Garia.
So it's like being with my mother.
I like your mother.
Just not related.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, it's more of a ceasefire. It's one of those things where she just got into her term and her rule, and if this turns into something it shouldn't, then that could lead to issues. And she doesn't want to present a weak front. So what I want to find out is what exactly was this man carrying, and let's see if we can figure out if there's anything that a man from Garia even shouldn't be carrying, or up in the north. You just need to take a look.
Rule out whether he is in fact Garian at all.
Well, the body's already been dealt with, but I'm curious how many pieces of currency they've got on them. Things of that nature.
When they were describing the man and how he was dead...
What? Don't tell me you're going to start going into the bush to discuss stories about this, are you?
No, I'm going back to a gala that we just had where there was large dogs and wolf things and a man dressed in a...
Yeah, okay, that's a fair point.
I'm just saying that...
I mean, they were very large wolves.
Large wolves. Large man. At a place.
Pelts, yes. But he didn't sound Garian or look Garian.
No, he speaking that old tongue.
So anyways, are we ready?
Oh, yeah. Where did they get these clothes?
Don't ask questions you don't want to know the answers to.
I want a hat. I'm going to need her hat.
I'm sure you're going to get a hat.
Another pistol. Maybe a rifle.
You're going to get your weapon. Can you even use a rifle?
What? Of course I can use a rifle.
That's a fair point. Okay, fine. Yes. I think we should, lead the way. Good man.
As you come in, it's been enclosed so that prying eyes can't see. So it's rather dark, lit by a few lanterns. And there's a table in the middle, stacks of hay off to the side. And it's clearly a converted stable room. Standing at one end of the table with her arms crossed is Captain Chelsea. And slightly behind and to her left is Biggie from the tavern.
Oh, hey. So what are we dressed like?
For lack of a quicker description, cowboy garb.
Okay.
So
that's fair.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. Okay, cool. I'm following.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you've got the shirt, you've got a vest, you've got a jacket or a coat on there. And this is the same as Captain Chelsea and everyone.
Okay.
They've clearly picked some kind of ranching profession to mimic with the clothing. Hats are provided. I don't know that they're to Pickleson's liking, but the full attire has been provided to look the part.
Okay.
And then Captain Chelsea, as you guys come in, kind of nods back over her shoulder. Says,
This is my best sergeant, Gerwin Wallace. Gerwin, for this venture. He'll be coming with us.
Ah, we met Gerwin.
You hear
We met.
Gerwin.
I was like, oh no.
Pickleson goes right up to him and grabs both his big arms and goes, it's good to see you, Biggie. I'm glad I am so glad that you're on this. I feel so much better. Are these the other men that were at the table too?
there's nobody else in the
okay.
room right now. So
Just
these
these two.
guys.
Gotcha.
You'll have 4 more to meet, and I imagine that they were all the ones
Mhm.
sitting at the table. But at the moment, it's just
Boy,
the
this
two
would
of
have been
them.
really awkward if it wasn't,
Uh-huh.
if we did get into a fight with.
Well, you flipped the story point. I was like, I can work this in.
It's-
So I hadn't had that plan before. Spread out before you on the table is not a lot. You've got a handful of gold coins. You've got a waterlogged and leather journal, some kind of tool kind of covered in mud.
How'd you describe his clothes again?
The clothes you're wearing, or
What he was wearing.
what he was wearing?
What the body was wearing.
I hadn't described them yet,
Oh,
but
okay.
basically you've got a pair of trousers with some suspenders ripped to shreds. You've got a shirt as well that is torn apart. It's got red splotches here and there all over it.
Are these more modern? Is this modern wear or is this
Peasant wear.
Yeah, is it? Yeah.
It's definitely laborer wear.
Okay.
It's not aristocratic in any way. but I don't know that it stands out as particularly different than just something somebody would wear.
Okay. So Lockwood's going to go over to Pickleson and just put a hand on his shoulder and be like, why don't you take a look at the clothes? I'm going to examine the money, and let's start there. Then we can lead to the journal next. So he goes over to the money and starts counting out the money as he's looking to see if these are fake pieces of gold, if they're real gold, if the mints on them are all correct, if there's anything weird about them, the number of pieces as well.
Yeah, and I think that the currency itself has been kept in a leather pouch that was tied closed, which is probably why it's still findable. And so they spilled it out a little bit, but left the pouch beside that's clearly waterlogged and not doing great. But you are able to pick up and look at the currency. Let's do a roll to see how much additional information to give.
So streetwise or what?
Dealer's choice. You can perceive, you can courtwise, you can streetwise, it'll flavor the information.
I will definitely go for education then, because I've got 2 ranks in that.
Okay.
What's the difficulty?
Easy with a setback.
Hey, 3 successes, 2 advantages.
Excellent.
Finally, something going in the right direction.
Right. 3 successes. You were able to tell that the coins are real gold. They are stamped with the proper seal and minting and are for the appropriate currency. They aren't counterfeit. They're not made to be more than they are.
Okay, the 2 advantages, I want to see if I can spin these this way. Can you tell me if the amount of currency that's in this pouch rings a bell?
Yeah, for 2 advantages, the amount that you have in your hand is several days' wages worth, if not maybe a month's wages. And it's a bit more walking around money than your average laborer would have. There's no copper, silver, or other coins, just gold.
Just gold. Interesting, and that's unusual in this time and day?
I would think so. Gold is worth a lot, which is why it stands out. You only have a small handful of coins, but you could buy quite a lot with what you have in your hand. And most people deal with silver coins or even copper coins.
Okay.
You know, the drinks you guys bought last night were probably like a half copper kind of situation. They were not expensive.
I got you.
Yeah, that was my question that I wrote down is, why is a peasant holding gold?
This guy was well paid for whatever he was, which is why it's also one of those, I'm sorry, what? Okay, so he's going to chime in while he's looking over these things like he normally does with Pickleson, but where the other 2 can hear. He's like, okay, so looks like all the gold is real. All the mints match. No altercations there, so this definitely isn't fake gold. Interesting, though, he looks over to the captain. It's about a month's wages. That's a lot of carrying around money for somebody who, by all intents and purposes, is dressing like a peasant. Plus, there doesn't seem to be, opens up the leather pouch, doesn't seem to be any copper or silver. This is a very odd situation, but something to take note of. I think we're looking at the very least, someone either, even if you were stealing from other people, like a robber or something, okay, you would get silver and copper. This is really unusual, but we should take note.
I think Pickleson, he starts arranging it, putting it back into as close to semblance of a body to see what the forensics on it would be like, where things would be ripped and where things would be torn on the body itself. If the clothes are damaged, chances are the body would be damaged there too. So he puts the trousers with the suspenders and the shredded shirt all back into a semblance of, and he'll probably even grab the money pouch and wonder where the money pouch would have been held on the person.
Captain Chelsea speaks up as you're fumbling with the pouch, and she points out to a spot.
You can see here, Penwise, that the pouch was secured inside the waistband. It was well and truly sewn in and remained in place despite tumbling over the falls. After cutting it free is when we found the Gari and coins.
So it was tied to the trousers, but on the inside.
That makes sense. Is that common, holding money on the inside of the trousers?
The trousers have pockets.
Oh.
With that much money, it might be common, but trousers have pockets. Let's do a hard with a setback roll.
Would knowledge, athletics, how the human body works?
I think we still have medicine.
Oh, we do have medicine. Perception.
Perception is fine.
Can I get a boost since I have someone who is with us, who saw the body? The captain?
Okay.
Can I get a boost since I have, since Pickleson has been in the bush and has seen men torn and ripped apart.
I don't think so.
Okay. Mind if I flip?
You can flip.
Yeah, go for it.
Ooh, 2 successes, 4 threats.
Goodness.
Thinking on the threats. We've got, and you went perception, is that right?
I went survival.
You went survival. Okay. As you take a closer look, there's a thin metal rod in the waistband near where the pants would buckle. That is like a piece of flint.
Okay. Like a little fire steel.
Which means he's prepared for being out in the wilderness.
Is this fire steel more military or is it more peasant use?
It's really too damaged to tell.
Well, then he starts going through and starts looking for other hidden things in the zippers and checking out the type of buttons that are on it.
And there is, at the back of the pants, they seem to have been tied up with some wax string. It's come undone, but it's still kind of tangled up in the back.
You mean like they were cinched up? Like it was back here for the person or whatever? Or are you talking about like something else?
Yes. Because it's a threat. It's 4 threats. I don't elaborate.
Great. All right, so having reconstructed, what does it look like the mechanism of injury could have most likely been?
It's still too difficult to tell. By looking for survival clues in there, you can see that the shirt and the pants are ripped. Large sections of it are missing. The water damage, I mean, they've dried out now, but the water damage has had blotches of what you assume are blood have like leaked out. You know, the stains haven't like set or anything like that. One of the pant legs from the knee down is just missing entirely. And the back of the shirt has been ripped into a giant hole.
Well, Luther, I found a fire rod, and so this person was prepared for starting a fire. There's blood that's been washed out. There's pants were cinched up by rope. I'm at a loss.
Well, they said it was difficult to figure out anything. That's fine. I mean, it's not a lot to go off of.
No, but what it is lacking a coat.
But the coat itself, you think even but with the severe amount of lacerations, I think it would still manage to stay on.
Well, possibly. His arms were intact.
He wanders over to the journal, picks it up. Is it still wet?
It's still pretty soggy. The leather in particular, but some of the paper inside is dried a little bit.
But not much, yeah. Does it look like a standard journal, or is it something just from the outside?
Yeah, just from the outside or looking at it, it's a little bigger than a hand. It's like a little notebook journal that someone could write or sketch in. The information on the journal will be another roll.
Okay. I don't mind doing another roll if you will allow us to.
Yeah.
What kind of roll do you want?
So you've got 2 things left to examine, and each of them will take a roll for your flavor of information on it. You've got the journal and this odd tool.
Okay, so you've got the tool and I've got the journal, which makes sense. I can pick what I want. I can do the same thing again, or I need to pick something other than what I did last time.
I think it's more fun if you don't do the exact same roll, but it is an option if you want to argue for it. These next 2 rolls I am flipping on.
Oh, fun. So what is viable for the journal? Obviously perception. Vigilance, probably another one.
It would take warfare.
Oh.
Streetwise would work as well.
Perception and vigilance, I give you 2 boosts.
I'll do perception, and that's 2 boosts. And what's the difficulty plus your flip?
This one's also hard with setback. The setback's for all the water damage to everything.
Okay. Are you flipping on me on this one?
Yes,
Okay, so that's going to be 2 purple and a red and a setback.
that's right.
2 failures and a threat. Totally bleh. The blues did nothing.
It's so waterlogged that it's just kind of a big floppy mess. The pages are all stuck together. I mean, you don't even really get to dig into it too much to even see the writing as you try and pull a page or 2 apart from the other pages. One rips one way because it's just still wet paper, and what you see underneath is still largely washed away pen or pencil or whatever was in here is pretty damaged.
That makes sense.
Yeah, what should I roll?
And you're going for the muddy tool.
Yeah. Can I roll melee?
No, I don't think you can.
Oh, why not?
Well, I mean, if you want to stab somebody with it, you can.
No. I'm just pointing out that if you had the skill in that thing to do the thing, you could technically roll melee as like an education of, oh, I know all about melee weapons, so I can apply my knowledge to understanding.
I mean, if it was a melee weapon, yes. It's not a melee weapon.
Okay, fair point.
So mechanics, warfare would be fine, perception, and survival.
Yeah, I'll do warfare. I'm going to flip. All right, I'm rolling that. Ooh. Oh.
Oh, you got the despair in there.
2 failures, 4 advantages, 1 despair.
Pickleson picks up the tool. It fits well enough in his hand, and it's not much bigger. Between the weight of it, he's found kind of where the handle is, and then there's a little part that sticks up from it. And kind of handling it, there's just this odd familiarity to it of you've seen it before. You probably saw like sometime during your service, but it's pretty beat up and it's covered in mud and you're not quite sure, and you're kind of fidgeting with it a little bit, and then it kind of squeezes together in the handle, some mud kind of falls out from it, and then a spring from the middle flies out and it falls apart in your hands onto the table in 2 pencil-ish size pieces.
Or
could have been an odd pair of scissors, maybe, but it's come completely apart. So that's the clues that you can have from the investigation.
The despair was it fell apart.
Yeah, there's nothing else to really glean from it. It's pretty much garbage now. Any other useful information it may have contained or been on it to ascertain has been waterlogged, flogged, and destroyed.
Okay.
Captain Chelsea basically kind of takes the lead there after you've looked over all the items and takes you to another kind of converted stable. There's 4 other members of your party expedition there. They've saddled 6 horses and 2 mules with supplies for staying out in the bush for a while. And they actually have you mount up and ride out, and you ride away from the palace to the northwest corner of the city, where a farmstead is basically put you up for the night in the nearby stable. When the morning comes, everybody packs up rather quietly. Captain Chelsea reminds a few of her men that
This mission will have no yes ma'ams, no ma'ams, or any salutes. We are to use first names only, no rank or titles. Is that clear? We are to keep Luther here safe, allow him to do his work, and ensure he returns to report to Her Majesty. In short, he is the mission. Understood? Good. Mount up.
Lockwood and Pickelson mount up.
Luther, I told you, I still prefer the boat to a horse any day. My butt's already sore and we haven't even got out of the city yet. We'll just have to make do.
At least you didn't say I should, marry the Empress or something.
Oh, I didn't want to do that in front of the soldiers.
Comes from the front of the line. Annika takes the lead. Lockwood and Pickelson fall in behind, and it is a single file line. You guys ride off into the sunrise. Thank you for listening to the latest episode of the Foxglove Letters. We hope you've enjoyed the adventure so far and can't wait to see where the story goes. Before we go, we want to let you know that we love hearing from our listeners. If you have a question for our players, their characters, a comment on the story, or just want to say hello, drop us a line at diceycantina@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Instagram and YouTube at diceycantina for behind-the-scenes artwork and world building. Or if you just prefer to chat, join the Discord. Links to everything are in the show notes. If you're enjoying the show, please consider giving us a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcast platform, as it helps us grow the show and reach more listeners. The Foxglove Letters is a creation of Dicey Cantina, playing Genesis by Edge Studio. Until next time, dear listeners, don't forget the words of Mr. Cunningham when he said, "Don't just watch the world pass you by. Reach out and grab the stars."